Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Outdoor Collective. Hey, guys, we're back. It's time. This time of the week when we get to come and hang out. Kyle, it's great seeing your face. Um,
Thanks.
a lot of people, I would agree, would agree with me that I'm lucky that I get to do that.
I think that I've got what do they say? I've got a face for a radio.
You got a face for podcasts.
Yeah, your eyes getting more blue. They're gonna match that shirt you have on. So how's that?
There you go. Well, I gotta keep up, so we're here tonight, ready to do our podcast. This week's podcast sponsored by Lee's Famous Recipe and Miller Lite, I think is what I had for supper.
And Solo Stove.
And Solo Stove. There you go. Say Solo Stove that 7 times, and let's see if they'll actually start sponsoring us. But
My childhood lisp may come back.
there you go. But you got some good supper tonight.
Yeah, I'm on remote location at my mom's crib.
There you go.
He's already grounded me twice and hit me with a belt.
And hit you with the belt.
Yeah,
So if I was at my mom's house, it'd be a wooden spoon. So we're
probably. Well, I'm just telling you right now, neither you nor Matt got the spoon enough because you're both jerks.
Well, maybe you're saying Ben got whipped enough because he's good. He's good.
The only one I like, really.
Okay, well, it's good to know. It's good to know.
And he said that you couldn't take him in, that you could take him in soccer. I heard something like that.
Oh, I could take him in soccer, definitely.
Yeah, just rumor.
But, just a rumor. Yeah. But so, man, hey, how was everything going? Good for your week?
Yeah, it's good, man. I just like I said, I was saying brought to you by Solo Stove. But I was able to pick up one of those deals and have a couple fires in that thing.
Oh, really?
Man, I tell you that, I thought they were all hype, whatever. I got a friend that's always posting pictures of it burning, but they're pretty much smoke free when they burn wet wood and do all that. So I've been lighting those up in the backyard, and I got a bunch of junk mail to start it up, and then throw some firewood in there and sit back and enjoy it. And nothing like the glow of that. And it's not as scenic really as, sitting around a campfire that you can put hot dogs on.
Right.
You can still do them on that, but it's nothing I'm going to take to the woods and throw down. That's for sure. But it's nice for the backyard. So I've been enjoying that in between.
What size did you get?
Never-ending rain. What's that?
What size did you get?
The bonfire.
Okay.
So it's the Yukon's the big one, and then the bonfire is the next one down. So it's a big round of car tire or so. But it really does, the way they have that thing engineered. It really shoots the air, pulls cold air in, and exhausts it out the top, and man, it burns down in there. It's just like sand left over when it's done, so hardly any resin.
Wow.
Ton of fun, man.
How heavy? How tall is it? Let's start that. How tall? You said.
I don't know. I mean, it may be like maybe 22 inches tall or so, not to be specific. Maybe 21 3/4.
Depends if you have the quarter inch. If you have the quarter inch, stand for it or not. Yeah.
Yeah. If you got the stand for it, it's good. But you can burn it right on concrete. Any type of wood, just put a couple bricks underneath it to get it off of the wood deck, and it even will burn right on that without harming it. So, user beware in those. That's just my personal experience with it. But man, it's fun. It makes a nice flame, and I tell you what, it'll keep 5 or 6 people warmer on that thing.
And it's big enough you could throw in the car trunk in the adventure mobile.
Yeah. Yep. It comes with the bonfire for sure. It comes with a carrying case. And that sucker locks up in there. You put the ring in there and whatever else, and you can just carry it around. I mean, yeah, it's, I don't know. I'm going to guess about 15 pounds maybe.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really super portable.
Yeah, I know I've cooked on top of one before. Like you could put a grate on top of it and cook, and it was pretty fantastic. So awesome, man. I hope you got a great deal on that, and I hope the second one you bought is my Christmas present. So. Thanks for that, by the way, for doing that.
Hey, man, just remember they do in November. They do have a BOGO. I know somebody who got a stove last BOGO time out of that deal. You know that guy? You know that guy?
I know that guy. I think he used it a couple times to boil some water and cook some ramen.
I think he had me use his stove to do that because he likes gas.
I think you ate my ramen. But after I cooked it, is what I really think happened.
That's probably true.
And then made some more after I went to bed. If we're 100% sure, and I think that was a year ago this week.
I just saw video evidence that is true on
That is
Facebook
true.
Memories.
Yes, it's amazing to believe that, to think that this kind of got started because of a crazy backpacking 101 thing that we did together a year ago, and now we're at what,
16.
No, no, like 20 episodes of this. So we're close to going on 5.5 months of doing that. And with the month off, so now it's been 6 months since our first one of these. And man, this is awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And thank you guys for being part of it. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for putting up with our, whatever. But to keep coming back. So we want to keep asking you to do that. If you're new to the show, please like it. Please subscribe. Please go out there and review on YouTube, on podcasts, wherever you get it, because it really does helps get the word out about the Outdoor Collective.
Speaking of words, Rick, you had talked last week about a camping trip where you had some tent folly. I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to know more about that.
I got you. My kids are always on me. Hey, Dad, when can we go? When can we go? When can we go? So they had a long weekend. The no school on Friday. We have Houston Woods up here, which is a great little state park. Got a nice little lake in it. Get some fishing in. We got a nice little just regular campground that actually is pretty packed anytime and every time. But I thought about it enough that we were able to get Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night booked. And so we get out to the campground, and we have this big tent that I've had for at least 10 years.
Which camping site did you have? One there off the first bend, or one in the back? Did they have the back section chained off yet? I've been there. No. I used to go over there and spend a little too much time at somebody's house, and then I'd head back on my way back to Indiana. Instead of driving home at 1 a.m, I'd stop at that Houston Woods and throw up a tent. But where were you at in that park?
I didn't know you were sneaking out doing that, but
years ago,
I was in the C loop, which in that C loop is the one to the left once you come up through the thing, and it's actually, I like it the best because it has a little creek that runs behind it, and if you're on the outside of it, you can usually hear that at night, and so it made it nice, and so it's got a lot of tree cover. But so Thursday night we set up, have a great time. Ricky Lee and I hang out. We have some pork chops over the fire. Outdid myself cooking. I'll say that again, and I'll get Ricky out here if you need me to prove it. But yeah, so that was really cool. The whole plan of the weekend was that Friday we'd get up and hang out, do a little fishing, do a little exploring around the campsite there at the park, and then Leah plays in the marching band for the school, and they had their final football game of the evening or of the year, which we thought, but end up we're going to have it this week because they made the playoffs. But so we left the campground on Friday afternoon.
So Thursday night camping was pretty good, or
it was awesome. Yeah, Thursday night was camping. It was awesome. It was perfect weather. If anything, maybe a little warm, but nothing. It was great. We stayed out by the campfire. We had everything we needed. Friday we go to the ball game. End up winning big, beat a rival that was supposed to beat us 42-0. It was just one of those great nights. Get back to the campsite, hanging out in the little pop up over top of the picnic table, playing cards. Start sprinkling a little bit. Nothing, we knew rain was supposed to happen. Not really worried about it. Never had a problem with that tent. Blah blah blah.
Your fire going, still lit.
Fire going. It's just perfect. Breeze starts coming in. You're like, oh, okay, nice little breeze. It'll be good. It starts sprinkling a little harder. Leah's like, hey, it's time for me. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. We're like, okay. Ricky and I stayed up, play a little more cards, and all of a sudden Leah goes, hey, Dad, the tent's dripping. I said, nah, it's not dripping. She goes,
hey, it's dripping. Tent? Hold on, time out. Is this the tent that you tried to get me to take on my East Coast journey?
This is the one that before I realized I was going camping with my kids, I was going to send with you.
I'm piecing it together right now.
Are you piecing that together?
We got the Mac Daddy of all rains on that Friday night, so I would have had that tent, and we would have been, yeah. Continue.
Continue. So it's dripping. I'm like, it's okay. And she goes, and then about a couple minutes later, she goes, no, Dad, it's dripping. So I come in and there are what looks like to me like two spots where it's just dripping. And I'm like, okay. I was like, it is 10 years old. It might, the seams might be a little wimpy on it. I said, we should be okay. It's not going to be that bad. Rick and I go back out and kind of close up camp. Make sure the fire's out. Zip up the sides of the pop up and make sure the food's all locked in the coolers and all that fun stuff. And come back in. And it's obvious that the drip is even a little bit more than we expected. And then Ricky,
is it dripping on the tent floor?
On the tent floor is what I thought.
Tell me you had an Nalgene catch in it.
No, I did not.
What?
Anyway, so Ricky goes to get in bed and goes, Dad. I'm like, what? He's like, my blanket, my pillow. I was like, what? And sure enough, there was another drip that was hitting right on his cot, right on his.
They handed them all Nalgene's, man.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, here's what we need to do: just turn around, put your head on the other end of your cot. It'll be okay.
Were you already asleep at this point?
No, I wasn't even in bed yet.
Come on.
No, listen. So I go to lay down, and mine is even wetter, so much so that it's leaked through my cot down onto the floor, and there's a huge puddle on the floor that I couldn't see before because of the way that we had the tent set up.
I've been here before. And
I was like, and I kind of shook my pillow and realized it was just that one side, so I could flip it over and sleep on the dry side. I'm like, look, Ricky, I'm wet too. I'm going to flip over. I'm going to use this climate blanket as opposed to my sleeping bag. It's going to be fine. It'll be perfect. It'll be okay. So sure enough, I think, I know that at least 20 minutes before we came, Ricky and I both took melatonin gummies. He has melatonin gummies than I do. I took 20 milligrams of melatonin gummies.
How many?
20 milligram.
How much you weigh? I'm just doing some math.
A little less than you.
I don't know.
I said a little. Those 6 inches you got on me, are good for at least 2 pounds. But
yep.
But so I lay down, and it's Rick in the woods with rain. So even without melatonin, you had maybe 90 seconds, and probably within 30, 45, I was out. Doing pretty good, sleeping. All of a sudden, I wake up and
on your back. Can you answer me this? Were you on your back?
No, I was not on my back. I worked hard to make sure I stayed on my side for my kiddos, but I'm on my side.
Oh,
and it wasn't real long. I'm thinking 20 minutes, and I wake up and Ricky's leaning over top of me, shaking me. Dad, the tent is what he said. I didn't realize what he said, and I said, "You're wet." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm all wet." And he said, "I haven't slept yet. My blanket keeps getting wetter." I'm like, "Okay, let's get up." I said, "Let me get up and we'll find you a dry spot to sleep." And and he goes, "No, Dad, the tent." And I was like, "What?" And he points over to the tent, and he takes his flashlight and points, and the whole end of the tent has fallen in. Like literally, like it would rain so much that the ground got moist and it pulled the stake out and just fell fell in.
What kind of stake? What kind of stake was it? It was that little stainless steel ones.
Yeah, it was. They were a little bit longer than but they were. That's the first time I've ever had an issue, ever had an issue. Fall in. I'm like, oh, and the water is just pouring, like you could just see it pouring in the tent through the mesh. I'm like, okay, and I jump up and I throw a shirt on, I throw my Hey Dudes on, and I run outside in the rain with the hat on. I find the stake, I find the hatchet, I put everything back in. I walk inside and it's it's a swimming pool inside there. Luckily luckily the tent had two areas. The area that's the wettest was the smallest, but it also had all of our bags and clothes, so they're all sopping wet.
Mm.
I said, "That's it, guys. Let's go. Get in the truck." So all I had is my little Ranger truck for the three of us. It's 12:45 at night. I was like, "Get in the car. We're going home." And Leah has completely like her dad has barely even budged, not even realizing that me and Ricky are running around, water's coming in, all this stuff, and
Yeah.
she hadn't even taken any medicine. And she's like, "Dad, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Leah, get up and go to the Dad. No, I'm so we can make this work." I'm like, "Leah, I love your attitude, but get in the truck." And she looks at me and goes, "Dad, this is the most unmore thing you have ever done in your life, or that we've ever done in our lives." I'm like, "Leah, it makes me so proud to hear you say that, but get in the truck." So luckily, the cabin is 25 minutes away. We drive through town, get here, go to bed. We have our warm beds. We put warm. I think I had to put a dry shirt on. Sleep through the night. Get up the next morning, and I go, "It's supposed to rain off and on. I have no idea what that tent looks like when we get there." So on the way, we stopped at Walmart and bought a brand new 10-person tent. But yeah, so it.
So
We
I
got
got
a new
my
tent
own
out.
room. I
So
got
you
my
got
own
your
room next time I come with you.
you got your own room next time. And when I was taking it down, here's the whole point of that. When I was taking the old one down, I flipped over the fly, and sure enough, like I said, that tent I've had for 10 years. It's been to Haiti 5 times.
Yeah.
Packed up. It had contraband from Haiti, everything from avocados to sugarcane. It was used to transport that back to the States. And
What
we
year was
camped it.
that? Let me. I gotta
That
write
would
this
have
down.
yeah, exactly. Sometime between 2000 and anyway, but yeah. So, and I looked at it, and sure enough, the tape on the seams was completely just disintegrated.
Yeah.
It was just, there were places that had peeled off. There's places that had broken. There was places it was just gone. And that's all, and that's what it was. And the water just got to those seams, and then it ran down the inside, and then gravity took over. Is what happened. And so, to me, the biggest thing, and the reason we're even talking about it, yes, it's funny. Yes, I like bragging on my kids that they think that it's unmoored to not sleep in a wet tent, but that you know as you're doing this, you're going to accumulate gear. There's tents that you'll have for 5 and 6 and 8 and 10 years, and those things need to be taken care of. You need to check them. If you know what you have, know the weather, so that um, that doesn't happen to you. What would have happened? I mean, if we'd have been at Dean Wilderness when that happened, we were hosed. Three of us would have tried to sleep in the back of in the cab of a O2 Ranger, kind of thing. But how's that going to happen?
Yeah.
And so making sure your gear is good is definitely something that I just hope you can learn from my craziness this last weekend as far as that goes, because I think it's something easy. You get home, and even if you remember to dry it out, when's the last time you checked your seams? When's the last time you and I think it anywhere, whether it's an outfitter, whether it's a Cabela's or even a Walmart or even Target, I think I saw had it. Their seam sealer for $4 or $5. Even the best kind will take care of a tent or two.
Yeah.
A good rain fly. It's definitely worth checking. And that what a great thing to do maybe over the winter as you're not getting out so much, taking time to pull those out, check those seams, put some stuff on it, and learn from Rick's mistake as far as that goes. But,
I think moral of the story is that you're a good dad. I know you're very active with your kids on weekends and doing activities with them, and you're not just like sitting around. I hear tales of guys who, when they get their kids are just sitting around while dad's on phone all day long, or whatever, doing something like that. And hats off to the dads who are involved and take their kids out to do cool stuff. Like, because your kids will remember that. They'll be telling about you when you're 64, and they're gonna be telling those stories about you when the grandkids are around. Oh, grandpa, one time like you're going to be in those. You're going to be in
Yeah.
those stores,
Yeah.
which is going to be really really cool. And they say, oh yeah, and then your kids or grandkids are going to look at you like, hey, you know, he's bound to that wheelchair now, but he used to be able to get up and move around, you know, because we went camping this one time or whatever they're going to say about you when
Right.
you're in your 60s. But that's cool. I had a pop-up storm come by one time, and while I
Uh-huh.
was trying to get the rain, I'm talking like bluebird sunny day
Uh-huh.
to 60-mile-an-hour rain. I couldn't even get the rain fly over the thing, and the person I was camping with had the kids at the shelter house taking showers with them, and so I was like, "Go put a rain fly on an 8 person by yourself. It's a
Oh
ton
yeah.
of."
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, it ended up snapping poles off, and ended up a neighbor come from the other campsite to try to help me. And I'm talking a rain that was like fire hose rain.
Uh-huh.
It was a disaster. And but you know, the house was like an hour and a half away and didn't have that option too. So it was like a miserable night of being cold and able to get the kids dry stuff and whatever. But yeah, 2/3 of the tent was, I know what you're talking about. It just rained through the bug mesh.
Yeah, just completely just dripping all through. Yeah, it was just it was probably the it probably was the second hardest rain I've ever camped in, with the first being backpacking 101 last
Oh
year,
yeah.
this time a year ago this year.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme with you and rain and getting wet in your sleep systems.
Um, I didn't get wet. I got rain. It was
Bruh.
raining. I didn't get wet. It got rained on. There's a difference between getting wet and rained on.
Hey, you know,
Last week I got rain. I got wet. A year
last
ago I
thing
got
before we.
rained on.
All right, well, we're parsing words. So last thing before we talk about our new commercial.
Okay.
What do they call that floor of the floor of the tent? I almost gave it away right there. The floor of the tent, to where it doesn't rain, so rain can't come up the sides. What do they call that kind of
They call it a tub.
bathtub floor, right?
Yeah.
Rick, you're not supposed to test it from the inside, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. That is definitely something I learned, and I'm pretty sure the reason it happened was um, because 2 weeks ago when we went camping for up to Red River, went up to Eagles Buttress. I camped at the same site as the "Hey guys" story, and we laughed and joked about it so much up there that I'm sure God was kind of like, "Hey, let's get you a new 'Hey guys' story."
Figure you out.
"Hey
Well, I will
guys."
undoubtedly borrow your new one, but your old one,
Yeah.
don't ask me ever again.
Well, the old one, actually, I made my older kids mad because I just went ahead and pitched it. It had broken poles that I had jerry rigged a couple times. It had some of the straps that were missing, and kind of deal. And I was like, you know what, it's just be done with it. And so,
So, moral of the story: inspect your tent. Don't just take it for granted.
Don't take it for granted.
Maintenance on those things.
No matter, especially if it's been something that you can count on and you've counted on a long time, that and you can't think of the last time you thought about it, just because it was so reliable that, hey, you know what, I need to keep it that way. And if you have something good and great and nice, please by all means take care of that tent. When you get home, anytime even this new one I just bought, it's a Walmart special, $150, but I got it thinking, hey, you know what, something I can get now. If I find a really nice one that I want for a little bit more money, that's way better, it'll be a great second tent. But when I got back, I still had to get it. I still had to hang it up and let it dry, give it time to air out before you fold up and put it back. When's the last time that you really just make sure you take care of that stuff? And even your sleeping bags and your pads. If you don't have the small pads that could deflate all the way down, and they have any kind of cushion in them, those need to be when you get home, open them up, get them out of the bag, let them breathe, let that foam expand as much as it can whenever you're not using them. There's all those kind of ways that we can just kind of make sure that we're able to go anytime we want, and we have gear that's gonna perform the way we expect it to.
Yeah, good point. I mean, just to belittle the point, that half rail REI pad I love so much to sleep on, because it's got the sides that keep you kind of centered a little bit more. That thing, You know why I'm sleeping with the bite valve next to my face now?
Why?
Because
I
it's
know
leaking
why. Because
air.
it's leaking. Yeah.
Yeah, about every 2 or 3 hours, I gotta put a couple puffs back into that thing, or my back's on the ground or whatever with that too. And I had plenty of opportunity to uh, submerge it in water and find out where the holes were coming for, and just like found every reason not to do it.
Right.
Next time I go camping, guess what I'm gonna be doing probably if I don't think about it between here and there.
Every 2 hours, putting a couple 4 or 5 puffs in. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of grabbing a soapy water bottle at home, spraying it down, looking for the leak, that type of thing, and patching it up. So yeah,
Yeah.
good points on all that, man, and good job. Probably making a better decision in that. To take the kids home and retreat for a better day because you're got a proximity to home. So
Yeah.
hats
Yeah.
off,
For
man.
sure. Thanks, man. It was a great time. Hey, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and take our commercial break for all of our podcast listeners, so we can pay the bills, and we will see you on the other side. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Outdoor Collective. Hey, Kyle, we took a couple minutes there and kind of talked about well, it's kind of a little bit of a crazy time out in the woods. It could have been scary. It wasn't scary, other than just a little bit of rain.
Yep.
And excuse Ricky opening up my 200-year-old door there, and I'll probably hear it again in a minute. But hey,
Colonial door,
Cologne, no,
frontier door.
Frontier door. Thank you, Mr. Cologne. Everything's colonial, but it is the week before. I started to say Thanksgiving. The week before Halloween, and the woods have always kind of been known as a scary place. You got crazy movies like the Blair Witch Trials, and not Blair Witch, but Blair Witch, whatever, not Trials or whatever it is, Blair Witch Project. Oh man, I'm so with it. But they got all kinds of different videos and movies like that. So, but I'm thinking like there are some actual like haunted hikes, and there's some places out and about that are scary just because they're scary, kind of deal. You had done some research and we're talking about that. What are like the biggest or the most popular scary hikes that are out there?
Yes, I'll do two like nationally known, like definite reported sightings, like factual parts of this may or may not be true. I don't know, but they're factual sightings or people have reported it. Whether they experienced
Okay.
it or not, I'm not in charge of that or the authority over that. But we had talked about being Halloween. Have you ever, Rick? Somebody asked me this last week. Have I ever been out and had like a supernatural experience while I was out in the woods and hiking? And I would throw back before I talk about that, I'll throw it to you. And have you ever had it something where things weren't just adding up type of deal, or maybe the hair on the back of your neck says, hey, something weird's going down?
No, I can't. Um, I don't know. I don't think so. I know that I've scared myself with shadows before, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Shadows have got me that kind. But when you said supernatural kind of deal, the first thing I thought was, man, I've had a couple great Night Panther experiences that really just cleansed my system and made it ready for me, even for me to go to bed that night. But nothing scary or anything like that.
Oh my God. I don't even want to know how you made like a ghost out of a sheet. You used toilet paper instead. I don't even know what you did.
But when it comes, no, I can't say that I felt like there was somebody, or any kind of spirit or anything out there for sure.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny they asked me that. I have had one experience. So you remember I had horses for probably, I don't know, 10 or 11 years. And
Yeah.
I had this big horse named Ranger or Comanche or remember I used to change his name every April Fool's. Remember that guy?
I did remember that because my kids thought you had 3 different horses at one time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I did it the first year and everyone's like, you can't change your horse's name. So then it made everybody so mad that I just did it every April 1st. I had him for like, I don't know, 8 years or something like that. But anyways, He had all these different names. Anyways, he was a big old he's a lineback dun. And I got him from in Illinois from Sheriff's Mounted Police. So he was like a pretty cool horse, not scared of much. Well, I would load him up in the trailer and take him down to Bedford, Indiana, and put a bunch of tree stands on his back and on behind the saddle basically. And I'd pack those sticks in and ride him around, and 2,000 acres. I'd ride him around instead of carrying those by hand, and that way I wasn't driving the truck all over and all those things too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I remember loading him and maybe, I don't know, half a mile from the truck and going up this uphill. And all of a sudden he was, really good horse, not scared of much at all. And he starts like tucking ears and kind of like trying to sidestep me into this locust tree on the right, those big black locust thorns, thorny locust tree. And he's trying to run me into that. So I'm kicking him to go to the right because he wasn't listening to where I was cueing him at. And he just kept sidestepping and kept sidestepping. And he was like super upset about something. And it's like a wooded area, but I could see really, really well because it was like, basically, I think it had been timbered out in the last 4 or 5 years. So I could see really well. And I had no reason why he was acting like this. So I started looking for like maybe a timber rattler on the ground. I couldn't see anything. And then he starts like, it was almost as if somebody walked down the side of me and ran its hand down the edge of the horse and down my leg and across the back of him and back away like that. And he turned and faced downhill, and we were headed uphill. And he like basically turned and faced downhill and watched something walk by us. I mean, and, as I'm telling it, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I got goosebumps, but like I literally felt something like a hand in my mind. It was a hand like rubbed down the side of the horse. I could like kind of see like, up on its, I'd be like his left shoulder or whatever.
Yeah.
I could see a hand come down and go, and I felt it go across my leg and then on his rump. And as it did that, he kind of yielded to it and turned around and just basically watched it walk away. And then when it was gone, like, I don't know, 10 seconds later, then he was like, nothing was wrong, went right back where I was putting him. So I would say like that was like the weirdest experience I've ever had in the woods about it. And I was not okay for a little bit after that.
I'll say I would have had a night panther right there on the back of the horse.
Yeah, I can still walk you right to that spot where that happened.
Wow.
Show you. I ran into a bunch of those locust thorns too, by the way. So it wasn't really cool, but I would say that that was my experience. So, but moving on. You look at like haunted trails, haunted national parks that are out there. One that comes to mind is in Yosemite National Park. It's a park we've talked about before.
Yeah,
and I'll bring this all circle about why we've talked about Yosemite before. But the 8-mile long Chilnulna Falls, hard word to say, the Chilnulna Falls Trail in Yosemite National Park loops around 2 waterfalls and follows the edge of Grouse Lake. They said that there is a legend of the ghost of a boy who drowned in the lake there. And according to Awanichi tribal legend, the cries of a young child can still be heard, and anyone who jumps into the lake looking for the boy will suffer a watery death. Now, one thing about that, do you remember the number one cause of deaths in national parks?
Yeah, like, was it drowning?
Is drowning. Yep. So, maybe something to this.
Maybe there's something to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Yosemite is up there with those. So anyway, so drowning's there, but Native Americans, they call it the Pohono, which is the evil spirit of the waterfalls. It calls the area home. Hikers on the trail are advised to tread carefully as wanderers to the cliff edge because they may be pushed off to their death. So watch your step. So
what's the name of that trail again?
Chilnulna Falls.
Chilnulna.
Yeah, Chilnulna, Chilnulna Falls National Park's an 8-mile loop. Got 2 waterfalls on it and a lake.
That's why we let you talk about that, because there's no way I'd have been able to pronounce that. It's a good thing Mama Rebecca's there to help you. She's a great English teacher back in the day, so that should help you out there.
I always joke that she was a teacher in the local community, loved by all, but I always joke I was homeschooled. And she debates that opinion, but I was kicked out so much I was always at home. So there's just no way I was not homeschooled.
There's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So that's number one. What's number 2? National Scary Trail.
So number 2, and we were talking about this. I was talking about this with my my boss at work. We were talking about favorite places to go and spend time. And he went out to the East Coast too. But one of the other ones that out there is Gettysburg National Battlefield.
I've been there at dusk.
At dusk. So what did you think about that?
It was, and I was a young kid. I didn't even think about that. It wasn't like, seeing ghosts or feeling ghosts, but it was definitely like hallowed ground. I remember feeling that way. Like as at dusk, it was even like I remember the Titans. It was kind of that foggy kind of feel to it. And it was definitely hallowed. I wouldn't say like haunted, but yeah, I could see how there'd be places that could be.
I think, as somebody who grew up in church and believes like I do in things that are there, I believe in the good side and with God, and I also believe in the other side with spirits and evil and that. I'm not judging any soldiers by saying that. I'm just saying I believe there's a spiritual world. And I took a trip there maybe back in mid 2000s, 2005, 2006. And I had the same exact thing that you're talking about. It just felt it like made my soul weary or tired to even be there. It was like a veil or a haze around my emotions of feeling like really, I don't know, not sorrowful, but just like something remarkable had happened there. And when you think about Gettysburg National being 50,000 dead had died there at that battle, that's pretty crazy to think about. 50,000 souls were shed there at that battlefield, and that's crazy to think about. 50,000 dead.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's an area especially where people report hauntings there called Devil's Den. Is where that they kind of had some snipers set up who were trying to take out officers in different of the units that were on both sides of the battle. But it's talked about being one of the most haunted areas there. It says that visitors to the site often report unseen hands fiddling with electronics, namely cameras, saying full charge batteries go flat in seconds, and those lucky enough to snap a picture or two often find them imprinted with blurry apparitions of soldiers. You can actually get online and kind of see some pictures like that have happened there. So whether they're real or not, again, I don't own all that, but it's what's been reported. Then eyewitnesses accounts, they talk of ghostly figures that suddenly appear and then quickly disappear, mostly taking place at sunset, when it's said that the majority of the paranormal phenomenon occur.
That's crazy.
But I would like to say I don't really think that Civil War soldiers probably know how to mess with cameras, especially the electronic type. But whatever, to everybody, their experience is their own. I'm not going to say something did or didn't happen. I wasn't there for it. But you got to think with, having belief in that with 50,000 men who had perished there, that there's got to be some type of things that could go on there. So that's kind of the two of the ones that have I would think about would be impactful to people in the U.S. So check them out.
Those are great. I mean, the thought that there's out there, I'm sure there's others. What are some ones that, like I said, most of our listeners, except for the one in 9 different countries, the one person in those countries that listens to us. Most of them are here in the Midwest. What are some locals, whether it's Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, that maybe people could get out over the next month or two and check out?
Yeah. So we'll go ahead. We'll leave Indiana for last, of course. Presenter's choice. I'm in charge of content. But anyway, the first hike we'll talk about is in Kentucky, and there's the Violet City Lantern Tour of Mammoth Cave. So I guess back in the 1860s, when tuberculosis was a problem that patients were getting in their lungs, where it was fatal. So this Dr. John took patients that had TB and put them into the cave and thought that the warmer, moist air and constant climate and all that was better for those people. So they would have meals there brought to people there. And a lot of people died inside that cave. Whether it worked or didn't work was mixed reviews, but they would have a rock out in the front of the entrance that they would go put people on that had died. And that's called Corpse Rock. So they would come there and clean that. They would clean that rock off. And then they would also was a place where they'd leave food to be taken back in at a different time. So, that was there for a while, and that was for tuberculosis patients. There for that. So that's at Mammoth Cave. But Mammoth Cave also has kind of a story that is really chilling in my mind to think about, getting carried away with if you want to. But there was an explorer of Mammoth Cave, and I don't even know how big that thing is. It's hundreds of miles of trail or caves underneath. Amazing. You know anything about it?
I've been there a couple times. It's bigger than anybody can imagine. It's just phenomenal.
I saw something where they'd found another 100 miles of connection or something like that the other day.
It doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
gigantic in there. So there was this guy that used to explore it to map it out, and his name was Floyd Collins.
Uh-huh.
One time he was exploring this. Well, the last time was exploring this area called Sand Cave, and while he was in there, a rock shifted and pinned his legs inside of Sand Cave. So rescue party tried to get the guy out. It was in a place where they just couldn't reach him, and it took 2 weeks. Obviously, it starved to death, but it took 2 weeks before they could reach his corpse.
Oh wow.
So yeah, his rock had fallen on Floyd, and he ended up dying in there. And his brother thought so much of him that they used to display his body in a glass coffin outside the front of the cave entrance. So Floyd's brother displayed that, and it was so liked by other people that someone actually stole Floyd Collins's body, and they had to have it recovered at a later date. So just some crazy happenings in and around Mammoth Cave. Definitely was used from Native Americans all the way through the Civil War. A lot of different things, a lot of death and mysteriousness involved in Mammoth Cave. So that wraps up Kentucky.
Wow. Huh. That's crazy.
So,
well, I mean, the thing. Go ahead. Wait. Give me a second, because you. I'm not paying attention. I'm just don't have anything words to say about it. Like,
yeah.
Like, two things got me. One is that the brother was like, "Hey, come look at," probably paid people to come look at his brother in a glass coffin. But it just, again, I think we've talked about this, I feel like all the time, is the level of adventure and the level of just flat out manliness of people in the 16, 17, 1800s. It continues to.
We were talking about it last week in our, from the Green Mountain Boys to Floyd Collins. I'm like, hey, let's go explore this cave and map it out. And like, did they have flashlights? No. Like, how do they do that? Did they have a lantern? Did they have torches? Like, I don't know any of that stuff, but I would tell you this, like, if you died, Matt would definitely charge people to come see your corpse. Yep. He would make money off of it. Pretty sure.
Pretty sure. Okay.
All right. Let's switch over to the hometown of the Moore boys. All three of those rapscallions.
Yeah.
Let's call it the home state, not the town. My bad. I missed it.
Okay.
There is a town in Ohio called Helltown.
I did know that there was a Helltown, Ohio. I don't know why it's called Helltown. But I know there was a Helltown.
I don't either. I need to research this more or look it up, or maybe I won't. But it was abandoned in 1972. The government had everybody evacuate from Helltown, and they didn't list reasons why the government had everyone to move out. So that's kind of, I think it's a little bit in the Columbus area, but it's still, that area there is still blocked off, and the road is blocked. So you can't go in there and explore the old town of Helltown. I think they tore it down, and a lot of speculation out there, from radioactive experiments to it was like a point of satanic energy and all these different things that people like to talk about. I actually surprised I didn't have a Bigfoot. They found a nest of Bigfoots in there. Who knows?
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would that be big feet?
I think it's like deer. I think it's Bigfoot.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
One Bigfoot or Sasquatch, like deer or deer. You have one deer or a herd of deer, it's still a Sasquatch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So anyway, no reports of that, but that was 1972. The government being weird, probably experimenting on citizens back then as well.
Uh-huh.
So second one for Ohio is the Moonville Tunnel. And no, Rick, it's not what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, nope. I know what you're famous for in college.
I know.
But it's not for mooning. This is a tunnel in southeastern Ohio. It's haunted by a man. So it's a train tunnel. So, it's pretty good pictures of it on the internet. It's kind of, you couldn't walk through the thing in 10 seconds. A train went through there and hit and killed a man. So some people say on the right nights of the old train schedule, hikers and thrill seekers can still hear the train whistle brief seconds before the hearing the screams of a dying man. So Moonville Tunnel.
Moonville Tunnel. Okay, there you go.
I don't
Okay,
think the train goes through there anymore, but if it does, proceed with
with
caution.
caution, for sure, for sure, for
So
sure. Now
the Moonville.
let the Moonville Tunnel. Let's round it out with the Hoosier State. What are some of the what are some scary stuff in Hoosier? Do they have a place where I was going to try to make a joke about ugly Indiana women, but I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, I've been all over the U.S. and some of the world, and I have no comment on it.
You know what? That's probably why I couldn't come up with anything funnier to say. So we'll just leave my stupidity.
I think that content and character outweighs looks 100% of the time, Rick.
You're welcome for me setting you up for that. Go ahead and go with the stuff, the trails.
Right. Let's move on. So we have one for Indiana because it's not really a haunted place. A lot of people do like amazing things here, so it keeps the haunted down.
Okay.
There's the Steppe Cemetery in Morgan Monroe State Forest by town of Martinsville. So it's the Steppe Cemetery there. There's gravestones everywhere. Actually, that area is very right now, especially with the fall colors in there. Very nice.
That's beautiful.
Hike.
Yeah,
just beautiful. And some of the biggest elevations, sandstone features, some limestone in there, a lot of different things in there that are going to be cool, some lakes and things. But in Steppe Cemetery, the most famous grave in there is a grave that appeared in 1987. And on the grave, it just says Baby Lester, Lester, and the year of 1987. So it's like a poured grave. The rumor of that legend has it that someone had their baby die, and for whatever reason, were trying to keep it secret. So they snuck in at night and buried their child there, and didn't want to give a ton of details about last name and those sorts of things because there were some extenuating circumstances behind the
for sure
child. But people still
that's why you would do something like that.
Yeah. Well, people still go there and put tokens and memorials and things like that to the baby Lester. Yeah.
Okay.
The last thing overall that we had, and I won't be. There's actually a cabin there called the Draper Cabin, and you can arrange through the state forest to stay the night there. So on premises. But I think in that, what I read was a lot of people report hearing shuffling feet walking to and from the cabin, shadows, that type of thing. People appearing at campfires, like they're sitting around having a campfire there, and someone else is there they don't recognize, and then when they get scared and kind of jump back because they realize the presence of something else, that it disappears. So sometimes I don't know, I've been at campfires, and you can't see past the campfire towards the edge, and had noises behind me and turned around, things like that. But I've never experienced anything where it'd be scary to have an eighth hiker appear on a 7-person hike.
Right, exactly.
I wouldn't know anything about that, but that's the Draper Cabin down in southern Indiana. So that just kind of rounds out the Midwest there. But those things are out there. I know Jordan Lacey has a tri-state hike group set up, I think on Saturday, to go hike the Steppe Cemetery area.
I was gonna say that. I think that's true. I think that's 100% true.
I think it's a 12:30 or 2 o'clock. I don't know, in that range start time. So check that out if you're a member of that Facebook group. It's on there. And Jordan, that guy is so active in the hiking community. He's probably going to hike that and then hit Moonbow down in Cumberland at the same time, probably.
Yeah.
The way
I think he has somebody transports him through something, or the way he gets around and does that stuff.
Yeah.
So hey man, what a great just kind of great information, great time. Thanks man for hanging out with me as we close up here for tonight. Anything else we're forgetting?
No, I don't think so. I was just wondering about our how.
Oh, we do have a how. You want to do the how this week?
Trivia fact. This just in, hot off the press. My mom, who I'm on site doing the podcast today, I thought we'd have dinner together. I hadn't seen her in a couple months. her first grade class and what under her leadership got lost at Step Cemetery.
That's awesome.
Slid me a note.
That's awesome.
Here's the question: was there anyone in your hiking group named Lester?
That would, and with this in 19, because I guarantee your mom was teaching in 1987.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I was in seventh grade. I guarantee she was too. Every little
Yes.
homework paper I didn't turn in, I got to hear about. Trust me.
Exactly.
When your mom's a teacher in the community, you get to hear all that. So Hal, hit me up.
Well, you and I were talking about it, Hal, and I brought it up, and you said, "Hey, that's the one. We got to have that." This cat, actually, as a kid, we found out, emailed his entire class, and invited them all to join a fishing club that he was starting by himself, as a seventh grader. His whole class at school. He said he hopes he doesn't get in trouble because some of the students were using the code to email to every kid, and they were sending out bad emails. But he
what?
He said, he said, mine's just about fishing, so I should be okay.
Bad emails?
Like inappropriate stuff,
How can they do that on the school computers, Rick?
I don't know. Because
it's
kids
supposed to be locked down.
Exactly. So, but he thinks he'll be okay. But sure enough, my son Ricky, you've heard me talk about it, invited his whole class, started a fishing group, invited his whole class, and within 24 hours now has over 17 members, and their first day of going fishing is next Sunday afternoon. So I thought, how cool is it for a 13-year-old to say, hey, you know what? I love fishing. I love being outside. Let me see who can go with me and do it with me. And that's what it's all about: getting outside, being together with friends, building community. I brought it up to you, and so Ricky Moore, you're the hero of the week.
Yeah, let's do that for him. That's love these young kids stepping up, and I wonder where he sees good examples of leadership and somebody doing things. Rick, I wonder where he sees that.
His Uncle Kyle, for sure.
His Uncle Kyle, yeah. It was great to see you guys a couple weekends ago, by the way. But hey, overall with all that, I think the first lesson in that should be digging for worms, because that's how I got my start.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, I think no matter who you are, the idea is just do something. Put it out. I mean, that's how this happened. We decided, hey, let's just see what's going to happen. We know that the tri-state hiking thing happened, a little over 14, 16 months ago, because 5 or 6 people said, hey, let's just make a group. People want to be involved. And if you're willing to start, people are willing to follow. And we could talk about that all night. We don't have time, but that's what it's all about. So, hey, as we finish up here, guys, we thank you again for all you do to hang out with us. We thank you for calling us along on your car rides, for using us on YouTube to put you to sleep at night. Or whatever it is, there in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Letting us bore you to sleep. But whatever it is, we thank you. And Kyle, give it to him as we close out.
Yeah, and talk about outdoor stories. Whatever you guys do with trick or treating this time, be safe on Sunday night, Saturday night, whenever your town's having their things and you're outside and doing those at night. Have fun, but keep a good limit on it. No drinking that spice cider with the what do they put in that, Rick? Vodka or whatever? I don't even know.
Rum,
spike cider. Yeah.
Spike cider. It's rum. Uh-huh.
Yeah, rum. Yeah. So whatever you're going to put in there, don't be doing that and driving. Stay safe. Kids are out everywhere. Pedestrians are out there. But hey, Rick, we always say the outdoors is nearly perfect. The only thing missing is you. So get outside.
Hey, guys. Can't wait to talk to you again later. We'll see you.